pull up the stats here. And by the way, Legends FN, what's up? What's up? What's up? So this is from ML Football over on the Twitter, and he said Matt Eberflus is one of the worst coaches in NFL history, just not for the Chicago Bears, but the NFL history. His record is 14-31 on the road. He is 3-19. He is 0-18 on Sunday road games, so he has never won a road game on Sunday. And his winning percentage ranks 217th out of 229 all time. He was 5-22 when trailing at halftime, 5-17 in one-score games, 2-14 in NFC North games, and versus winning teams 1-14. Just like Mark said, guys, this was a long time coming. Matt Eberflus should have been fired last season. If the Chicago Bears were serious about rebuilding, retooling, actually pursuing a playoff, an NFC North Championship, and a Super Bowl, they would have fired Matt Eberflus last season. Then they would have brought in a new coach to drafted a new quarterback, right? I saw this other image. It was in our NFC North Trash Talk group. I believe it was 2020, right? Mitchell Trubisky got drafted, or was it 2021? I cannot remember. That same year, Coach Fox got fired, right? The next season, or two seasons later, Justin Fields got drafted. They fired Matt Nagy that same year. This year they drafted Caleb Williams. This same year they fired Matt Eberflus. It is just I am going to take my words from BC Combs. This is Groundhog Day over and over and over for the Chicago Bears. It is rinse and repeat. They draft a quarterback, they fire the coach. They draft a quarterback, they fire the coach, and then the GM gets his. It is terrible. If you are a Chicago Bears fan or a Chicago sports fan in general, I am sorry for you. Hoffy, did the Bears make the right choice of firing Matt Eberflus? That is the question. I mean, if it's anything but yes, you're wrong.
No, they made the wrong decision. Eberflus should have been fired at halftime of the Patriots game. When you get blown out at home against the New England Patriots of today, that's a serious issue. I mean, I'd messaged Beastie Combs during that halftime and said I wouldn't allow him out of the locker room. I'd give him a one-way ticket to wherever the hell he lives. But yeah, I think this has been a long time coming, but at the beginning of the season, we, beating a dead drum here, but we talk about these rookie quarterbacks and who was most equipped to, take over a team and be successful. And it was the Bears. But I mean, I think we all knew that the coach was going to be the one and only thing that got in the way of this team. And that's exactly what he did. So yeah, I think that they should have drafted, Caleb Williams and had a new coach, but now you're going to go into year 2 with Caleb Williams, and you're going to have to hire a new coach. So he's going to have to relearn the entire, system all over again. Right. And look at quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield. Kind of same thing happened in Cleveland. Could never really figure things out. Goes to the Rams on 3 days, 2 days, 24 hours, whatever it was. Wins a game. Goes to Carolina. Doesn't really get the chance to play all that well. Again, crappy coach. Now he's in Tampa Bay, and he's
crappy ownership.
Now he's in Tampa Bay. Perfect spot for him. And looking like a top 10 quarterback. So I think that, the key to success for a quarterback is, having a solid coach. Denver's set up perfectly with Sean Payton. And again, Mark has touched base on it with, the offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury. Should have hired him as the offensive coordinator. Should have brought in a coach other than Eberflus. 14-32. How did he still have a job 8 weeks ago?
Yeah, so here's the one thing that you guys keep saying, and Mark, you've been adamant about this for weeks. Should have brought in Cliff. Should have brought in Cliff. Well, here's a true aspect of it, right? When we talk about lame duck coaches like the ESPN analysts are like calling Mike McCarthy, Matt Eberflus is that lame duck coach. Everybody and their dog knew that he was not going to survive this year if they did not make the playoffs. It is simple as that. Why would you want to go put yourself in that situation? Because biggest downfall about Matt Eberflus is that he can never take blame for anything. Nothing. A player was out there taunting the crowd, right? And He blown the covers on the Hail Mary. What has Matt Eberflus said? He benched him because he was injured, right? Was because he totally effed up that play. Maybe cost the Bears their whole season, but he was injured, right? Matt Eberflus is the weakest-minded head coach I've ever seen my entire life. He gets walked over and points blame at everybody but himself. I mean, even the hiring of who was the offensive coordinator that they hired that they just fired. I can't even remember his name. They hired him from Seattle, right?
Shane Waldron.
Yeah, he didn't even fire him. Ryan Poles said, "I don't want you to be the bad guy. Let me be the bad guy," right? So Matt Eberflus, and I never like to see people get fired. Being fired sucks. But this man's getting paid $6 million through 2026 to sit on his ass by the Chicago Bears. The truth of the matter is that when Thomas Brown, intern head coach now, which was the passing game coordinator, elevated to offensive coordinator, now he's elevated to intern head coach. The simple fact of the matter is he is going to be the next head coach for the Chicago Bears, more than likely. Let's just call it what it is. He is going to be in there, slide in there, perfect DEI hire. Call a spade, right? What is going to happen is he is going to suck next year. And then the next year he is going to be somewhat average, but he's going to be like, but I want to get my quarterback in here. Caleb Williams isn't quite my quarterback. So they're going to trade Caleb Williams. I don't know. Pittsburgh Steelers. Here you go. 7th round pick. Yeah, take our first overall pick. You do what you got to do. Then they're going to draft. Let's say they draft Tristan Polk out of Marion County, right? He comes in and first overall pick, doing his thing, but they just suck. Then they fire the offensive coordinator. Then they fire the coach, and then the new coach comes, takes him. It's just like I said. BC is right. It's Groundhog Day all over again. Hoffy, you said Thomas Brown isn't going to be the head coach.
Correct. I think they have their quarterback in Caleb Williams. I mean, look at him. He's getting just absolutely annihilated game after game, and he's still getting up and playing some solid ball. I think that you have to go out and get Ben Johnson. I think that would be a huge hire for the take him away from a division foe. But I think you got to hire somebody like him. And I know that Mark probably isn't high up on this guy, but someone like Josh McDaniels as an offensive coordinator can't coach to save his life. But as far as being an offensive coordinator, look at the success he's had. But I think Ben Johnson has to be their next head coach in order for this Bears team, this offense to reach its potential with Caleb Williams.
I can almost guarantee you, Hoffy, the Lions will block that interview. Like, no, you can't go interview for them. No way.
How? I don't think they can they?
The Kansas City Chiefs did it to Eric Bieniemy all the time. They said, no, we're not going to let you talk to this guy.
I thought that.
But he went on interviews last year, so they're willing to let him go search for a job.
Well, yeah, that was 3 years after the fact, right? Then, Matt Nagy came available. Yeah, Matt Nagy, come on home to Kansas City. Win us a Super Bowl.
Ben Johnson went on interview. He's saying Ben Johnson went on interviews last year.
But it wasn't to Chicago. I'm saying if it were to go to Chicago, nope. Blackballed, not going to happen.
Well, I agree with you, Buck, about the Bears doing the same stuff over and over. I feel like you're right. It is Groundhog Day. I feel sorry for Combs that is his team that
it's
don't do this over and over.
Yeah, fuck Combs.
Yeah, it sucks, dude. Like I went through 8 years of this shit with my team being crappy, and we're finally seeing some daylight a little bit.
Yeah.
So it sucks. I understand.
So let me put you in this position. What you guys got? Sean Payton, was it 3 years ago, 2 years ago now? 2
years.
But he was
second year.
He was underneath contract still. So you gave up some picks for him. Was it a second round pick or like
gave him a first round?
Yeah. So you gave up a first round pick for a coach that hadn't coached for 3 or 4 years, was in the booth, and you give him 10 years, $100 million. Come save our franchise. First year did not look very good. This year looking a hell of a lot better. Would you go and redo that process? Do the Chicago Bears need to go out and be like, hey, Andy Reid, Kansas City Chiefs, 3 first-round picks. Take them.
Dude, I'm really glad you brought that up because we had to deal with Russ last year, and I think that was never going to be a fit with Peyton. But this year, he has his guy in Bo Nix. So yeah, you see improvement because he has his guy. He has a guy that he has confidence in. I don't think he never had any confidence in Russ. I don't have confidence in Russ. I never really did when he was here. I just was hoping for the best. I'm one of those guys that's half glass full. So I was hoping that Russ would have a revive of his career here. It didn't happen. And now he's supposedly doing that in Pittsburgh, but I don't believe it. I think we're like Hoppy said last week, it's Fugazi. I think he's another Fugazi this year, and we're going to see it soon coming up.
Yeah, all the way to the Super Bowl. But guys, do you think the Chicago Bears were right to fire Matt Eberflus? I think across the board, everybody is saying yes. And Laura's like, wow, I did not realize he was that bad. Yeah, he was that bad. Laura, I believe it was Justin Fields' rookie year, maybe second year. People were celebrating that they won back-to-back games for the first time in like 8 years. Like, he has been that bad, yes. And Jim Powell says, no way Eberflus is worse than McDaniels. McDaniels never really got a fair shot. He got like, what, 7 games in, and the Raiders were like, see ya. And then even in, was it Denver? They fired him after 9 games. See ya.
No, he got like a year and a half in both places.
Yeah, but still, is that really worth a time to really turn an organization around, turn a team around? Hell, Matt Eberflus has been there for 4 years, right? 3 years.
He also didn't have a number 1 overall pick and get a quarterback like Caleb Williams or Andrew Luck or
remember McDaniels drafted fucking Tebow. Come on, man.
Yeah, at what?
Do not dog Tebow. Do not call Tebow.
He led the Broncos to a win over the Patriots, who were dominant at that point in time. So that's saying something. I don't think he's the answer, but you can't say that Eberflus was a better coach than McDaniels. I think McDaniels would have done a lot more with this Bears roster than Eberflus would have or did.
So, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Eberflus come as the Colts defensive coordinator? A Colts team that never really had a top 10 defense, never really had a winning culture the whole time he was there. So I don't understand why the Bears even thought he was a good hire in the first place, right? I thought Combs was going to have a heart attack the day that they freaking announced, who the fuck is this guy? I mean, nobody knows who he is, but I mean, he grew a beard, grew his hair out,
and he changed his hair, dude. This year he changed his hair. He thought that was going to help him not get fired.
Yeah, it is what it is. My man Derek, like my man Derek says, happy holidays. He knew he was done walking off the field. No, he didn't. See, Matt Eberflus was that arrogant. And I believe, if I heard this correctly, that the Chicago Bears have never fired a coach during season since World War I. And when they fired their coach, it was because he went to war. So that was the only reason why they fired him. So I'm just they don't normally do that. So it was a little bit of a shock. But Mark, since it is a shock, man, I wish Combs was here. I'd be getting underneath his skin so bad here.
We should have had him on tonight, man.
He's actually doing a live show right now. That's how pissed off he is.
He hates Virginia McCaskey. He hates her. Hates with every ounce of his body. And he says for the last 5 years, I hope she dies. I hope she dies. And many people were like, maybe she just, because she's 98 years old. She is old as dirt. Maybe they're bored and her should just pass the team off to Ryan Poles and let him do his thing. Do you think this firing has Poles' fingertips on it, or did it actually come from Virginia McCaskey and that board?
I would hope if Ryan Poles is a good GM that he did fire Eberflus. I don't know why. Like I said before, I don't even know why he kept him on this year to help him develop Caleb Williams. It was a mistake. Maybe he's trying to right that mistake.
So this is the reason why that I was I watched a separate Bears podcast earlier today, and this is their theory, right? This is not mine. This is totally theirs. It was the picture that I sent you guys with the guy that had the Bears hat in the background and the lotion and then the tissues, right? But he says the reason why Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus is still there is because Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, and Caleb Williams all have the same agent. So
that means Poles is next if they don't turn it around soon.
Probably. Harpro's Brent says rubber has met the road when teams play the Detroit Lions. Chicago is just a place where great quarterbacks go to die. And that give me one great quarterback that has gone to Chicago. Jay Cutler is their best guy, and he was drafted there. Jay Cutler.
No, we drafted him. We sent him there.
Right.
McDaniel, speaking of which, traded him there.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Junius Howard says, good coach, good riddance to the clown coach. See ya. Derek says, Williams showed a lot of grit getting hammered and kept getting back up all game long. He had no other choice. Let's just be honest. He had no other choice but to get back up. Brent says, what? Go ahead.
101. Virginia's 101.
Really? I didn't I thought he was exaggerating, but yeah. Maybe she'll die this year. Fingers crossed. I'm totally joking. But
no, you're not.
But Brent says all those draft picks and all that money spent on free agents, and they're still terrible. It's all about coaching. Cannot.
What do you know about coaching?
I know everything about coaching. John People says they cannot stop coaches from interviews. Yes, they can, John. Hoffy, Google it. They can't. Yes, they can.
They changed the rule, dude. They can do that. They can't do that now.
They can if it's for a coordinator position, but if it's an if it's a head coach position because it's an upgrade, it's for a promotion, they cannot. That's part of that whole Rooney.
Okay.
That Rooney rule.
So if it's a lateral move, the team can block it. Okay.
Can block it, yeah. But if it's head coach or something above, then they can totally go for it.
Okay.
The tampering is legit, and there's a certain timeline that they can actually So Detroit can say no, we're in the playoffs, you can't enter. So they would have to wait till the season. So Detroit has some games they can play with them, but they can't stop them from interviewing.
Yeah, that's what.
Who do the Bears go get though? Seriously, who do they go get?
Coordinator position, right? So let's look beyond the Detroit Lions, because I think it's going to take a special job for those guys to leave. But you are going to look at a coach somewhere, a player coach, Deion Sanders, right? Deion Sanders would probably be a fairly good guy. But one of the most Chicago things to do is to look at defensive coordinators. Look at defensive coordinators in Kansas City.
Always defensive
coordinators. Look at a defensive coordinator in Dallas. Look at a defensive coordinator, or used to be a defensive coordinator in New York for the Jets. So I think the three top candidates for them would be Mike Zimmer. He knows the NFC North. He was pretty decent with the Minnesota Vikings. Then you Steve Spagnuolo. You've seen what he has done with the Kansas City Chiefs. He does have a bad track record as a head coach, but the Bears like the defensive-minded guys. Steve Spagnuolo might be it, or a guy that's getting paid $50,000 a day to be on another team's coaching staff to get them to the playoffs, and that's Robert Saleh, which is working with the Green Bay Packers, right? Or was it Detroit Lions? I can't remember who he's working for.
What about my guy VJ? He coached in Cincinnati. He knows the AFC North,
Oh well, it's the NFC North. Like I misspoke on that. I don't know.
I think they're going to hire Matt Quatraro.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
That's your Kansas City Royals manager.
Oh Jesus. John People says Mike Vrabel would be a good coach, and like I said, another defensive-minded head coach. I think the Bears will go defensive-minded. That's just who.
I think so too. Which that's exactly the opposite what they need. They need an offensive guy to help Caleb. Man, I don't know what the.
I think you could go with Vrabel, but you have to have an offensive coordinator that is established. Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury or a Josh McDaniels, and hand over the offense to him.
No,
I know he's not, but I'm just saying somebody like him. Maybe you got to bring in someone from college. I don't think you're going to get the guy from USC, their coach, because they're paying him boatloads. But hey, maybe Ryan Day from Ohio State is fired after losing to Michigan
4 times in a row.
Bring him in.
But this just came to me. You guys know who have connections with Ryan Pauls, because Coffee brought up USC. Eric Bieniemy. He is a offensive coordinator, I think, right now for USC after getting fired from the Commanders. He's always been wanting a head coaching job. They got that connection. They got that brotherly love from their time in Kansas City. Why not? He's an offensive-minded guy.
How about Martindale from the old Ravens defensive coordinator? I can see the Bears hiring him. He's done pretty well for the Michigan defense.
I don't know. It's tough.
Can Caleb handle Bieniemy? I've always heard that the guy's really tough. So and Caleb Williams is a little soft, if you ask me.
Eric Bieniemy would have been there when Caleb Williams was there last year, so they had that history. I thought. I mean,
wasn't Bieniemy still in Washington last year?
He could have been. Yeah, I'm not for sure. All my days are kind of starting to convolute together. Derek says Nick Saban's not doing much these days. Nick Saban's loving life with Pat McAfee on the College Game Day show.
He really is.
Yeah,
dude.
like he is starting to loosen up a little bit. Have a good time there.
Dude, I saw him eating barbecue today on their show today.
Bieniemy's at UCLA, Buck.
Oh, UCLA. Okay, my fault. This is his second year there.
That I'm still trying to figure out.
Yeah,
I think it is his second year there.
yeah, because he was there with River Ron, and when River Ron got fired, I think he got fired too.
Yep.
Jim Powell says maybe AP will be available by then. Listen, we'll be talking about like Antonio Pierce. He is probably on the hot seat. Let's just be honest.
Yep.
John says John people says Nick Saban is retired. If he goes anywhere, it's back to Bama. No.
Yeah.
Nick's,
like, please come back.
Nick Saban has flat out said he does not like the NIL crap. That is why he left, is because of the NIL crap.
Yep.
Like he was doing it illegally for all those years, getting all those guys down there, but now that it's legal, he's like, this is a big boys game.
Now he's like, I'm out.
Laura says Jimmer was good with the Vikings until his health went downhill and he lost his wife. That's just my opinion, though. Listen, he was pretty good. He wasn't Super Bowl good, but hey, the Chicago Bears are just looking for a 7-win team good. So, I mean, it'll be perfect. And then John was throw out John Gruden's name.
No, Buck, like you said, they're going to hire Thomas Brown Jr., this guy, this coordinator. They're going to hire him, and then eventually he'll get fired too. They're going to keep the cycle repeating, dude. It's going to happen.
Brian Flores.
So that would be probably a pretty good guy. But the only thing about that, Mark, was Thomas Brown Jr. was there when they drafted Caleb, right? Like, this is his first year there. So this is Caleb and him's first year together. And they clearly have a hard-on for him, right? You go from one of the worst passing offenses in the NFL. You are the passing game coordinator, and you get elevated to offensive coordinator. That I was like, what? That's freaking weird. And then a week later, now you're the head coach. So obviously Ryan Poles has some type of hard-on for him. And obviously the Bears have looked more fluid the last 2 weeks, right? If they don't get a blocked field goal or a blumbered on time out, we could be talking about them as 6-4 instead of 4-6, honestly.
Of course, he's got a hard on for him, though. The Bears have never had a quarterback throw for 5,000 yards.
4,000 yards.
So obviously Caleb Williams doing what he's doing. They're obviously going to, amount some credit towards the passing coordinator. But I don't think that's the answer.
And Laura says, do not take Brian Flores. He is mine. True.
I think out of all the ones we mentioned, I think he's probably the best one, to be honest.
Brian Flores. He is, I mean, I don't know if the NFL would hire him, with all of his suing of the NFL. And
it's up to the owners, man. It's not up to the NFL.
Yeah, but it's a good boys club, right? But
true.
It is what it is.
I think that or Ben Johnson. I think those are the two best options.
Well, are they going to pay Ben Johnson? The whole reason Ben Johnson didn't go to Washington or any other job is because he wants like $15 million a year, and he's not going to probably leave Detroit until he gets that. It's like, why worth leaving? They got a really good team.
True.
Pay up. Back up the brink truck, baby.
Exactly.
Well, when Virginia McCaskey dies and her inheritance goes to somebody else, maybe they can finally back it up a little bit. But let's move on to the Detroit Lions yet again. We talked about who can beat them